What's going on, guys?
What's going on?
Welcome back to the channel. So let's go ahead and hop right into it. Diablo 4's new features, the options, the loot filters, clans, crossplay, and a lot more. I want to go ahead and start off the video by going ahead and answering a question that I had seen a couple times around in terms of the game's system requirements. So let's go ahead and go over that first, then we'll dig deep into some of the other features. We'll talk a lot more about basically the newer features that are opening up with Diablo 4. So starting right off in terms of the minimum specs over here. So this was mentioned to get about 30 FPS here. So in terms of the processor, you're looking at an Intel Core i3 2015 and an AMD FX 4100. For our graphics card, we're looking at the NVIDIA GTX 660 and the AMD Radeon R9 280. Again, that's about 30 FPS in terms of the gameplay. The gameplay that you guys are seeing, I don't know what the exact hardware was ran on it, but for me, myself, I did play on an RTX 3090, and I had no issues in terms of frame rates or drops while I was playing the game. Like, the game seems like it is okay in terms of like how smooth the game runs in terms of optimization. Now, in terms of the file size in the game, we're looking at 80 gigs. In terms of the processor for the recommended system requirements, it's an i5 4670K and an AMD R3 1300X. In terms of the graphics card, the requirements for the optimum settings, an NVIDIA GeForce GTX 970 and an AMD Radeon RX 370. And the recommended broadband connection, but that's kind of relevant. I don't know if anyone's still in dial-up in 2022, but that's what they kind of wanted. Now, in terms of like the lowest settings, just in case that maybe you're playing on an older computer, or maybe you go to grandma's house, she's got a really old computer, could this run it? I mean, maybe if you put everything on super low settings, it does offer the resolution of 800 by 600. That's the lowest you can go into. Now, there's a lot of other options and features in Diablo 4. You can change the font, there's HDR, there's color blinding options, there is DLSS support, and on top of that, you can go up to 400 FPS. I'm running a 240 hertz monitor, so if you guys are FPS fiends like myself, that is technically an option to fully go in depth and change it to your settings. Another thing that I did want to mention, because I know there are console gamers out there, and sometimes you just want to chill, relax, and play with the controller, and you can do that on your PC as well. And as far as the controller goes, it is 100% fully customizable. One thing that's really nice with Diablo 4 is it's not just a few different presets, and you just basically only can select, let's say, like 5 options, right? You can customize each individual key on what it does. It does have force move. This is a really big deal. If any of you guys are action RPG, fans, this is a big deal, which means you can keybind just move without it even being on your skill bar. You can just move in a direction. You can actually also move with a melee attack skill for most abilities. There are certain exceptions for ones that may require certain conditions to be met, but for the most part, if you want to, you can just hold down one button for your melee attack and still move around, and at the same time use it when a unit gets in range. In addition to that, there's a lot of other features that are brand new, and I do want to go ahead and go over those as well. So starting right off in terms of cross-play, there is going to be cross-network play and cross-network communications that could be your friends whispering you. I'm assuming you're also going to be able to actually use voice chat with your friends because it's offering that cross-network communication. So I'm guessing you definitely more likely type to people, but the voice communication is something that is brand new to Diablo 4, which I think is a really cool thing. Maybe if you're partied up, you want to group up with your clan members, you can do that as well. Now, in terms of the clans, you can join clans in the game. I don't know if there's a limit on how many you can join. I did have the ability to join one. And one thing that's really good with clans, if any of you guys remember Rift It Forward, how it currently works, and this could be subject to change, of course, anything that we're talking about could be subject to change as the game is still in beta, but while playing it, you can group up with your friends, and at the very end of a event or something that's going on in the game, you will get the full rewards. So one thing that may be an advantage to do if you really want to min-max, I'm sure some of you guys have maybe seen some of the speed runs where people try to get to level 99 as quickly as possible, and what happens is certain people will create games, people join, and then they just eliminate a certain enemy and they just get the max amount of XP, or let's say some loot, like if you guys remember Rift It Forward back in the Diablo 3 days. So what clans could do is you could basically set it up so you're just basically doing certain events, and once you're at the very end, you invite all of your clan members, they go there, they go right over to you, and then you finish that, and then you just move on, and you just continuously go on, and this would be really good for anyone that may be interested in doing speed runs, or just being able to get loot really fast. It could be kind of cool to see as well. Now, Now, as far as notifications, just like any other game, these were in the option settings as well. You can actually change the background opacity of the chat. That was another like option. Going into other things that could be really nice, it does offer the dead zone sensitivity with controllers. You can toggle the map if you want to go ahead and do that. Again, all the buttons are fully customizable. Now, in terms of like the itemization, in terms of having it like display when you eliminate a target, you can have a duration set when a certain item like drops. You can make it so the items always show, or you can push it on as a toggle, which is actually really helpful. Another really nice feature that Diablo 4 offers is the ability to display minion health bars. This is very helpful. If you guys play Diablo 2, you might have so many skeletons and skeleton mages, you don't know what their HP is at, and there may be skills with the necromancer that would help out being able to heal, so you know when you actually have to pop a heal versus, you know, there's just so many on the top like left corner. It's like 10 and, you know, skeletons. You don't know, you know, do I need to activate this skill or not, because it might be on like a longer cooldown. So again, this is something kind of nice. You can actually change some of the highlighting colors of certain NPCs, so you'll know exactly what is an NPC. And there's another thing I saw as a point of criticism in the earlier like footages of Diablo 4. This is a long time ago. We're talking like BlizzCon when it just first got announced, where when you would hit an enemy, there was like a white highlight to indicate I'm hitting this enemy. You can disable some of these color optimization settings, and like it lets you kind of know when you're hitting certain targets, and it can kind of help out. You can also turn off the screen shake effects if you want to. There's combat hit flash, which I mentioned before. That is like an option that you can change. If you don't like the numbers showing when you're actually playing the game, that is another option. If you want to remove that, that is available as well. You can show all the damage that's like yours and like when the enemies hit you. There's also something that's really helpful, and I recommend all of you guys, if you guys don't have enabled, it's called Advanced Tooltip Compare. I wish I could show you guys all of these things that I basically took notes on while playing the beta that we can talk about. There's also the endgame beta, which we can't talk about, but yeah, I just got to provide all the info via this like text that I was using when I was taking some notes over here. But one thing that is really nice, in addition to the items dropping, you can change how that works. There is an in-game loot filter. Now, it's not like something, well, I mean, right now we're in beta. Maybe in the future you will be able to download online, like, you know how in PoE we have these loot filters that we can share with other players. Diablo 4 works a little bit different, as you will want to basically pick up everything, and then you want to salvage it to get sort of material. If you play Diablo 3 or Diablo Immortal, it's kind of like that. You really want to start salvaging your stuff so you can start upgrading your pieces of gear, which will give you plus stats. Basically, think of it kind of like an item power. Like your item, let's say, has 270 DPS. You can increase it by 5 when you enhance it with the upgrade, so that therefore you'd want to disenchant like all of the stuff. So pretty much you're going to be picking up most things. Now, I'm not sure if this is going to apply at the super far endgame, as we were only able to get to max level, which was 25 in the beta, but perhaps in the endgame we may not want to pick up everything. So what you can do, there are certain things that you can do with the loot filter, so to speak, in this. So you can have in-game loot sounds, so you know when certain things drop. You can actually set a few set of options. You can make it so you only show weapon, or you only show armor, or only jewelries, only socketable items, right? If you're maybe looking for just a very specific, like, I just want a weapon with a socket. It does, by the way, seem to have smart loot. So if you guys play Diablo 3, that means that you can still drop gear from other classes, but it's a little bit more rare in Diablo 3. I would say, as far as Diablo 4 goes, it has smart loot, but you will sometimes pick up items from other classes, but it's a lot more than Diablo 3, so it kind of encourages you to maybe make another character if you get a certain item that may not be for your class. Another thing that you can do is you can set the minimum quality for certain items to actually drop, meaning that if let's say you don't want like common items or blue items, or if you only want like legendaries, you can make it so that is an option. So as far as that goes, that's what we have as far as options. Now, what's cool is you can make it so it plays a certain audio when you have certain like conditions met. So there is some degree of control where you can just kind of zone out and play. Maybe you want to listen to music, and then when certain things drop, you know for sure that like, oh, I'm going to be excited because something's dropping. Pretty much, for the most part, as far as I'm aware of, most people will want to pick up pretty much everything in the game, and the legendary system is actually really cool. To explain it really in a brief summary, yellow items that you pick up are going to be as good as legendary items for the reason of you can take a legendary power and actually put it onto a rare item. That is not the same as a unique. A unique item will always have those set amounts of drops, but you can actually re-roll items, and we could probably save that for another video, but these are some of the things that I felt like were kind of important in terms of like its new features and customization as far as like crafting and some of that stuff goes. Now, in addition to that, there is the ability to activate voice chat. So this is something we haven't seen before in Diablo. I mean, all I'm mentioning real quick, there's voice chat in the game, which is actually a really cool feature that you can party up with people, maybe in your clan, and you guys can kind of communicate versus opening up Discord, and especially with crossplay. Sometimes, you know, someone might not have the ability to go ahead and access Discord, you know, for whatever reason, because they're on console and they just don't. I'm pretty sure most console at this point has Discord, but it's nicer to have it built in game. Hopefully it'll be nice audio quality as well for that. Now, as far as like graphics options, this was something that some people wanted to know. There's a lot of options. You can change soft shadows, there's shader quality, SSAO, there's the fog quality, there's clutter quality, there's the fur quality, there's water simulation quality, anti-aliasing, geometric complexity, which I believe is similar to like tessellation, which is like how advanced certain objects will kind of be rendered. And then there's terrain geometry detail, there's physics quality, particles quality. The physics in Diablo 4 are absolutely amazing, by the way. When you kill some enemies, sometimes you'll see parts of them just kind of roll down. It looks good at the end of the day. But yeah, physics are great in the game. There's also particles quality, there's reflection quality, there's screen space reflection, and there's also distortion, and there's also low FX. So you can try to make it run on maybe your grandma's computer. Bruh. But this pretty much wraps it up for the video as far as the other features and newer things in the game. But I'm curious to know if you guys have any other questions on in terms of like the options and other features that the game has. Definitely let me know down below in the comment section below, and check the pinned comment as there's a bunch of other Diablo videos you may be interested in. But thanks for tuning in, guys. If you guys enjoyed the video, drop a like on your way out. It really helps out the channel. And if you're brand new here, hit subscribe, turn the bell if you'd like to see more Diablo and other gaming content. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.